You know what still gives me the giggles? Is that the one guy in ZZ Top without a beard is named Frank Beard.
Yeah.
I'd love, yeah.
Everything's fine.
Just don't know what happened.
I'm moving this cord because I keep bumping into it. When I bump into this cord, that happens.
I got a headache. Should we start this thing? I'm getting tired of this. Is that the cold open?
And there's your cold open.
Would I rather be feared or loved? Easy, both. I want people to be afraid of how much they love me.
Welcome to Irritable Dad Syndrome, vacuum sealed for freshness. Please welcome your hosts, Mike and Darin.
Hey, I'm Darin.
I am Mike.
Welcome to Irritable Dad Syndrome, Cincinnati's comedy podcast. This is episode 219.
Hey, kids.
Hey.
If you want to learn more about our podcast, or if you like what we do,
Where can they go, Mike?
they can head on over to the wwws.
irritabledadsyndrome.com.
.com.
Mm-hmm.
IRRITABLEDSYNDROME.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do they spell out dot or is it with the period?
Indigo, rover, indigo, table,
Okay.
Apple.
Stop. When you go to irritabledadsyndrome.com, every episode we have is on there, and you can go to our merch section. We have new t-shirts at our merch section. I know we never discuss politics, but we have an Irritable Dad Syndrome for President t-shirt on our website.
2024.
In
It's
our defense,
topical.
we thought it was funny, and you got to buy one.
It's pretty cool.
It is.
We also have videos and different snippets. If you go over to our Patreon, we have all kinds of fun stuff.
Yeah.
We're actually, you don't know this because you're listening to the curated version, but we're about 21 minutes into what has been a train wreck of an episode.
That's right.
That you can hear on Patreon. Right now, you don't get to hear any of that. You
That's
just
right.
get to hear the creme de la creme, the best of what happened tonight.
Exactly.
Hey, what happened?
And we're glad that you're here.
I kind of got you're here. Yeah.
You know, we record this podcast a week in advance. And something that happened the day before we were recording this was Phil Donahue passed away. Legendary broadcaster Phil Donahue started his show in Dayton, Ohio.
Really?
And I used to work at WDTN where Phil recorded his show. Okay? So part of the building they'd stopped using, and Phil Donahue's office was upstairs, okay, in the abandoned part. And every now and then they would go up there and use it for if they needed to shoot something special, if they needed to set up a backdrop or whatever. If they needed privacy, they could go upstairs and shoot it in Donahue's old office. Okay. Now, what I did was when I worked at Channel 2, I would write my promos for the evening, and then I would go upstairs and I would practice my stand-up comedy routine.
Okay.
Because I was going to a club in Dayton called Jokers, and I would often go up there and practice my bit for open mic night. Waka, waka. Now, I used to go to ETSU, East Tennessee State University, and they, 1 year, made me the alumni director. Okay, the person in charge of reaching out to alumni for my broadcasting class. And I was planning to make this video for the alumni and everything. And I was going through all these ideas and stuff. And you know how Clint Eastwood has Malpaso Productions and Billy Crystal has Face Productions.
Okay.
Steven Spielberg has Amblin Entertainment, right? When I made this video, I decided to call it a Donahue's Office production.
Yeah.
Because that's where I created the idea for the video.
Okay.
And since then, every time I make a video, that's not this podcast or that's not something I do with Antenna TV, I call it a Donahue's Office production. So that's my little tribute to Phil Donahue. He was a great guy. If you ever watched him on Letterman, he was fantastic.
Donahue, he's trailblazer in interview. Okay, before Donahue, all interviews were like, "So you've written a book, huh?" Yeah, and yes, I've written a book about the culinary arts of the caterpillar.
Tell me about your movie.
Yeah. And
exactly.
Donahue would get somebody on stage and was like, "You peed on the seat on purpose, and then you told your wife, quote, you can go to hell."
Right.
How do you feel about that?
Well, he
you could just get right up in people.
he ran out of questions, and so he and just went out and started asking the audience.
Yeah.
And that became a thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And another interesting fact about Donahue is he looked a lot like my neighbor back in the day.
No kidding.
And as an idiot little kid, I thought my neighbor was Donahue.
Are you Donahue? Yeah. Donahue was married to Marlo Thomas, who was that girl.
Yeah.
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 And she was a cutie.
What's Marlowe short for?
Marlovian.
Okay.
Yeah, Marlovian Thomas.
Marlovian is also
so anyway,
yes.
to all the friends and family of Phil Donahue, may he rest in peace. He was an absolute legend, and we will miss him.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
You're listening to Irritable Dad Syndrome, Cincinnati's comedy podcast.
That is without question the funniest story I've ever heard.
Thanks for listening to Irritable Dad Syndrome. We're glad you stopped by.
That's all we got tonight, folks. So I was talking about Antenna TV.
Yeah.
I was working on a promo for the network, and the theme of it is Antenna TV has television with good taste.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And what I did was I was going through all these TV shows, and I found clips of people eating and people going, hey, this is delicious. And that tastes good. And I put them all together, and it's a bunch of people eating, and it's turned out pretty cute.
Mm-hmm.
The end of the promo, we decided we're going to put a plate of meatloaf on a retro table inside this old 1970s looking kitchen. So we got this footage of this meatloaf that we put on there. And after I made the promo, everybody is losing their mind craving meatloaf. Okay. It's like all the rage. People can't stop talking about meatloaf at work. So I thought, well, hell, I've got to make a meatloaf now. So I made a meatloaf over the weekend.
Okay.
And I posted a picture of the meatloaf on the Facebook because it's by law, you have to do that. If you make something, or if you go to a restaurant and order something, you have to post a picture of the food because it's 2024. Mm-hmm. Here's where there's actually a story.
Thank you.
You're like, any minute now, Darin.
I'm maintaining balance on my chair right now.
We've stopped talking about Donahue.
Yeah.
Tell me about this meatloaf. So I posted a picture of the meatloaf on Facebook. This friend of mine, who I have known since 1993, since the late 1900s.
That's 31 years for the mathematically inclined.
She reaches out to me on Facebook, sends me a direct message saying, I didn't know you cooked. What man doesn't cook?
Yeah.
It's like, you've known me since 1993. And you were surprised that I can cook?
Yeah.
I was like, what? That makes zero sense to me whatsoever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Where does she live?
In Tennessee.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Don't go political.
Also, on the photo of the meatloaf, do you know who responded?
Who?
Rupert G., owner-operator of the Hello Deli, which is no longer a thing, but you can go to hello-deli.com if you want to order any Late Show with David Letterman t-shirts and merchandise. So, so Rupert and I were talking about meatloaf.
That's good.
God, this is going nowhere.
I saw meatloaf on the rundown, and I thought, where's this going to go?
It goes nowhere. Absolutely nowhere. Yeah. Read any good books lately, Mike?
Coming up on the next episode of Irritable Dad Syndrome.
Can you tell me one more time what Link Ray said when you did the cover of his song?
He said, me, that should have been a hit.
And then you told him that it was a hit.
Yeah. Well, at first he said, Rick, what was that last song you played? I love it. Is that one of yours?
Yeah.
And I said, no, Link, that's one of yours. And that's when he looked at me just like befuddled and said, well, f*** me. He said, that should have been a hit. And I said, you're right.
Yeah.
Rick Miller from Southern Culture on the Skids makes his first appearance on the show. You don't want to miss this one. It's all coming up next week on Irritable Dad Syndrome.
Last night, I fell asleep with dill, pickle, goldfish, and gummy nerds on my chest.
Sorry, girls. He's married.
And the woman I'm married to took a picture of me.
We've got to put it on
in my reclined state with the dog on my leg, my glasses on, and my big, dumb, fat mouth open and snoring away.
So dill pickle.
She did remove. I didn't have any food on my chest when she took the picture. But.
So it's sour dill pickle goldfish crackers and gummy nerds combined.
Here's the deal. Goldfish.
I'm surprised you didn't go to the hospital today.
Goldfish do not sponsor this podcast.
No,
but I will just tell you, the dill pickle goldfish are the I'm gonna order another case. Go ahead and.
I tried one. I didn't like it at all. I'm sorry, I just didn't. Now, I can eat a lot of the gummy nerds. I think something's wrong with my son because a month ago, he went to church camp and Libby bought him a bag of gummy nerds to take as a snack on the bus. He didn't eat them. Brought them home. And
which kid is this?
The other one.
The other one? Okay.
Yeah.
I would,
I'm like, what is... Okay. So, hey, more for me.
Tell him to go pick a switch off the tree.
But I mean, you'd be proud of me because you'd think that they'd be gone within a day. I sparingly have had one here, a couple there. I have tried so hard, Mike, to cut down on my snacks, to cut down on my sweets.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
have you succeeded?
I'm down like 6 pounds.
Are you really?
Yeah. Yeah. And even after coming back from vacation, I didn't gain any weight on vacation. Usually you gain 40 pounds on vacation.
I noticed your are a little smaller.
I never had big.
You've gone down a cup size.
I didn't have big.
This portion of Irritable Dad Syndrome is brought to you by AMC and your local AMC dealer. There's a new excitement in small cars. AMC's new Spirit DL for $79. Let the Spirit move you with corduroy bucket seats and AM radio. See the new Spirit DL at your AMC dealers now.
A couple of weeks ago, I had talked about my trip to California. We went to Yosemite National Park, and I forgot to tell you a funny story that happened.
Okay.
We are at Glacier Point in Yosemite National Park, and we're looking at what's called Half Dome, a giant, gorgeous, insanely beautiful mountain.
Yeah.
So we're looking at Half Dome, and we're just all breathtaking
your breaths are taken away.
Our breaths were taken away looking at this.
Gosh.
And it was really something else. It was amazing. There's God, I hope our next guest doesn't listen to this episode. Oh my God. So anyway,
Glacier Point.
Glacier Point.
Yeah, right next to Half Dome.
It's well, you can see Half Dome from Glacier Point.
Okay.
And we're just gobsmacked. Our jaws are dropped. Our breaths were taken away looking at this mountain. And we were getting ready to leave.
Tell it.
We were getting ready to leave, and I get the backpack, and I look over, and I said, "Hey, Booger, can you take this for me?" Thinking that I was talking to my son Cameron, and it wasn't my son Cameron.
A random person,
it was
Booger.
It was just some guy standing next to me. I said, "Here you go, Booger. Can you take this for me?" And he looks at me like, "What the hell?" He starts laughing. I said, "Hey, wait a minute. You're not Booger. You're not my son, Cameron.
No, you're not. Yeah.
Yeah, you're not."
Yeah.
So I said, "Well, that's embarrassing." So I think if he has a podcast, he's going to be telling the story about how some guy called him Booger.
Yeah.
So I kept the backpack, and then I did find Cameron.
Yeah.
I said, "Hey, I just called him that guy Booger."
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, how about a Chick-fil-A story? You want a Chick-fil-A story?
Please.
It's time now for the Chick-fil-A Story of the Week.
I wasn't going to tell this one because I was afraid that eventually this lady would listen to it and I would hurt her feelings. But hey, I had nothing else to talk about.
Oh.
I go to the same Chick-fil-A most of the time, and I always get a Cobb salad with light Italian dressing and a large Diet Dr. Pepper.
Right.
I've gotten to the point
And
where
12 nuggets?
No.
Oh, okay.
I don't get those anymore. I'm trying to slim down. And you can go to the person on the left or you can go to the person on the right. Generally speaking, the people on the left are...
Are we talking politics now?
No.
Oh, okay.
Are the trainees, and the person on the right is experienced.
Okay.
I try to go for the people on the left because when I go to the person on the right, they have a thing that they always say that is not bad. It just grinds my gears.
Oh, nothing grinds my gears more than...
And here's what it is.
Okay.
I told you what my order is.
Yes.
And I say it the same way every time. I want a Cobb salad with light Italian dressing and a Diet Dr. Pepper. When I tell it to the people on the left, they say, okay, it's X amount of dollars. I give them my card. They give it back. They say, my plate, before I roll the window up, and then I go on with my life.
Yeah.
When I say it on the right, I get interrupted.
Mm-hmm.
And the interruption is, do you want those nuggets fried like we do?
Fried?
Like we do.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. Because apparently you have the option between grilled nuggets and fried nuggets.
Okay, I didn't know you had the option.
I
know you can grill them.
Yeah.
But I assumed that they were...
Well, this is America. You can have them any way you want.
No, I assumed that they came pre-battered and that they were baked. They're not dropping them in a deep fryer.
I don't know what they're doing.
Uh-huh.
And I don't really have a problem with what they're doing. I don't care. Whatever they're doing in the back is fine with me because it tastes great when it comes out the front.
Right.
Hello. That's what she said.
I don't know if I said that right, but I'm going to stick with it. What bothers me is the like we do.
Like, yeah.
That really bothers me. So much so that...
Like you just assume, like you know the inner workings of the Chick-fil-A?
Yeah, so this has been going on for a couple of years now. And the first time it happened, I said, what? And she had to explain it to me. And I was like, oh, well, fried. Whatever crack you guys put in it and pixie dust, whatever that is.
Right.
They have brown stuff on them when they come out. That's the fried ones?
Yeah.
Yes, that's fried and the grill. Okay, I want that.
Uh-huh.
Okay, you want them grilled like we do. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then every time. And then each time I've been quiet and I say, yes, grilled.
But no more.
Probably about a year ago. This has been going on for a while. This has been building. When she said, do you want them fried like we do? Under my breath, I go, Jesus. And I say, yes, grilled.
Uh-huh.
The Jesus has been getting louder and louder to where the last time it turned into just yes, grilled, please.
Uh-huh.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Here's the deal. Chick-fil-A's Cobb salads are delicious.
They are delicious.
They're nice.
Mm-hmm.
But when Mikey's
they are favorable to my taste palate.
When Mikey's on salad duty, Mikey's not happy. Mikey's starving for his food. He wants it right now. Any additional syllables or conversations that have to happen increase the time between when Mikey is starving and when Mikey gets sustenance.
Uh-huh.
So let's cut that down to the... Now, if I were like just cramming, if I had like extra sandwiches and stuff in the car and I'm cramming another thing, I'd be like, yeah, fried like you do. But when I'm starving, give me the salad and get out of the way. You are in between me and the food. It's a very dangerous place to be. It's like being in between a grizzly mom bear and her cub.
Yeah.
Get away from the food. Let me have the food. You may be listening to this podcast right now and thinking to yourself, dear God in heaven, they haven't talked about...
Somebody recommended this podcast.
Somebody recommended this to me.
This has been the Chick-fil-A Story of the Week.
I'm hungry because I just had a salad for dinner.
You know what I might do?
What?
I might just replay last week's, because last week's episode was the bomb. We really blew our wad last week. Last week's episode 218, was amazing.
I know less about women than anyone in the world.
Welcome to Irritable Dad Syndrome. Ask us about our gluten-free menu. Give it up for your hosts, Mike and Darin.
Hello, I'm Darin.
I am Michael.
Welcome to Irritable Dad Syndrome. This is episode 218.
218. I got nothing.
Mike and
I literally have nothing.
Last weekend, Mike and I were invited to a friend's house. We have Ann and Dave Wiseman.
Yes.
Are lovely people. Many years ago, Libby and I were in Florida. Okay. We're in Florida. I can't remember where we were in Florida.
Tallahassee.
Some place that starts with an S, Florida.
Sacramento.
And we were in Sacramento, Florida, and we're at this VRBO, Vacation Rental by Owner.
Wow.
And there's a pool.
Is that what it stands for?
That's what it stands for. So we're at this pool. Our kids started playing with these kids that are at the pool, right? And so then Libby starts talking with the kids' mom. And then I come over and, hey, what's going on? And then the dad comes over. So Libby and I are talking to these parents, and the boys are playing with their boys, and we're all having a great time. And it was like, oh, where are you guys from? Oh, we live in Ohio. Oh, we live in Ohio. What part? And they said, we're from Mason. And we're like, Mason?
Yeah.
I said, we live in Westchester.
No.
Turns out we meet these people in Florida who live 10 minutes away from us. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So we hit it off and we've become friends, and they've been to our house. God knows how many times we've been to their house. And Ann and Dave invited all us over to their house, and they made dinner, and we're playing games. We played this game called
Blank Slate,
which is hysterically fun to play.
Yeah.
I had so much fun playing Blank Slate.
Yeah.
Anyway, so after we played the game, we're sitting there, we're having a conversation, and here's a little something that you don't know about Mike Odell. Every chance Mike gets, he tries to turn people against me. Every chance. So we're at this dinner, and Ann says something about Quentin Tarantino. Oh, Darin hates Quentin Tarantino.
Yeah.
I'm like, I don't hate Quentin Tarantino. He's just hit and miss with me because I wasn't crazy about this movie. And Ann says, oh, I wasn't crazy about that movie either.
She didn't say that.
Yeah, well, she did.
No.
Yes, she did. You didn't listen.
No.
You don't listen when people agree with me. But as soon as somebody agrees with you, see, Darin, you hear what she said?
I've got a problem with Ann.
Right. Well, and I know you do have a problem when people agree with me. But I'm just there for the free food and to have a good conversation. Mike takes this opportunity to bring up pancakes, and then he starts doing the Darin likes.
Did I bring up the pancakes?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Darin likes to eat his pancakes the wrong way, and Mikey likes to eat them with the grid method. And you're explaining your engineering grid method.
This came up because of the pancake fight that me and Bess had way back in the day. That's why that came up. Yeah.
But you bring up the grid method and you explain that you cut it 3 ways and 3 ways, and Ann says, "Oh Jesus!"
But Dave was enthralled.
Well, yes,
he thought that was a good way to do it.
Well, that's how Dave eats his French toast.
Okay.
Yeah. So, but
it's a good way to eat French toast.
I'm just sitting there at this party having a great time, thinking, really, do we have to bring up the pancakes again?
So, what happened? What Darin's just...
If I die before you,
yeah.
I imagine that you'll be doing a eulogy or part of the eulogy. It'll probably be an all-day thing. And then Mike will be like, Darin was a great guy and a good podcast host, and he's a loyal friend, but man, he didn't know how to eat pancakes.
I'm going to bring some pancakes and put them on your casket and cut them in a grid and pour the syrup on it. And then just drop the syrup and say, take that, Darin.
Yeah.
What are you going to do, haunt me?
You can't go anywhere without bringing it up.
Here's the best part of that story for me is that we should have recorded that dinner for this episode.
Yeah.
There was more of this podcast in that dinner than there is in this current podcast.
It was a good time.
Yeah.
Boy, there's going to be a lot of Dave Lay in this.
I got nothing.
So
I got Jack.
This portion of our show is brought to you by Whoppers All Beef Footlong Hot Dogs, voted best hot dog for the 7th year in a row by the National Hot Dog and Sausage Association.
That's right.
Whoppers are made from 100% pure beef with no fillers and no preservatives. Get a ruler and measure it yourself. If your hot dog isn't a foot long, they'll refund your money, guaranteed. Whoppers. Now back to the show.
I've started responding to a wrong number on my text, and this was fun.
Okay.
So the other day I'm at home, and then out of nowhere, I get this text from an unknown number that says, "How was your day?" And I replied, "Eh." And then the person said, "Why?" And I said, "Typical Monday crap. How is your day going?" And the person said, "Pretty good, actually." And I said, "Well, good." Okay. And this person said, "Thanks." And then this person asked, "What's your plan for the night?"
Oh.
And I said, "I haven't decided yet."
Uh-oh.
Right?
Yeah.
And then this person says, "The same."
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And then I said, "I'm trying to find my motivation." And the person says,
Oh.
And I said, yeah, I'm just getting bored with work. I don't dislike it. Just isn't exciting lately.
Okay. Yeah.
I get that, LOL. Right?
Hell? Okay.
And then the person says, hola, HOLA.
Okay.
That came out of nowhere all of a sudden in Spanish. To which I said, aloha. And then this person says, ¿Cómo está? And I said, bonjour.
Oh my God.
And then after I said bonjour, how are you? HRU, how are you?
Yeah.
And then I was done. I said, good night.
Yeah.
The next day, hi.
To you, they sent this to you.
The person said hi to me.
Okay.
And I said, wow, you're up early. Yep. Got to go to the gym. I have late arrival as well. Don't have to be at school till 8:55.
Oh.
And this is when Libby said, maybe you're talking to a student.
Yeah.
And I said, well, yeah, maybe I am.
Yeah.
And I said, if it starts to get weird, then I'm going to cut this out. And Libby says, okay.
Then it's weird.
Glad you know.
Yeah, okay.
Glad you have your parameters here set up. But, so this person goes to the gym in the morning, and I said, go get it. She replies with a smiley face. And then I ghosted. I went dark.
Yeah.
And then the person said, hey-o. And then, howdy, have a good day. To which I replied, you too, with a U and then a 2.
Like it. I like it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thanks. Okay. And then yesterday,
Uh-huh.
and this is where I decided I'm going to stop.
Yeah.
I saw you.
Oh. Okay.
It's like, I don't know where you thought you saw this person. And then,
because you work from home.
I work
so
from
this gets
home.
Creepy.
Yeah. So I don't think this person saw me. This person saw who she thinks she is texting. Tried again, hi, and then said question. But I didn't. That's when it got weird.
Yeah, you're in too deep at this point. You have to end it in some way.
Yeah.
You can't just quit.
Do you think I have an obligation to keep this up?
No, not keep it up, but like you've got to let the cat out of the bag at some point, right?
I don't think I do.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
And then that's not the first time I did this.
I think you've saved this episode is what you've done.
So this isn't the first time I've done this. A couple weeks before that, I get a message, how have you been, my friend? To which I replied, Person says, it's Nicole. Did you forget about me? And I said, been really busy trying to take care of this situation I'm in. And then, Kelly, how could you forget about me? I'll give you a hint. Last month I was
you're Kelly now.
Yes, this person thinks I'm Kelly.
You're Kelly.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Kelly, how could you forget about me? I'll give you a hint. Last month I was at your 50th birthday and you complimented me on my beautiful beige dress. Remember? To which I replied, I don't remember much about that party. I must have had a good time.
Oh, yeah.
You really don't remember? Are you Kelly?
Oh, okay. You've been directly asked.
And I said, wait, I thought you were Kelly. And then I'm so sorry. I just checked the numbers and accidentally entered the penultimate digit. Penultimate.
Wow. That's
the penultimate digit incorrectly.
She owes us a quarter.
Which caused me to contact you. I hope this beautiful misunderstanding didn't bother you, so please forgive me. Okay. To which I wanted to say, hey, I have irritabledadsyndrome.com podcast, and you said penultimate.
Yeah, you owe us a quarter.
But I said, that penultimate digit is the worst. Have a good night. No forgiveness necessary. See, I've been having fun with
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I never get wrong texts, and now I've gotten 2 in 2 weeks.
Yeah.
I'm torn whether I should start replying back to this because I'm fascinated with what their question might be.
This has been the best thing you've brought to the show in weeks.
Not weeks, but I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I thought the Stop Calling Me Carl was pretty good.
Yes, that's pretty good.
It's time now for a new segment called Arts and Crafts with Dave. Hi, I'm Dave Lay, and here's an easy project you can do with just 2 household items. Take some maple syrup and some leftover dryer lint. And just like that, you can have fake beards for the kids. This has been Arts and Crafts with Dave. Back to you guys in the studio.
Has Bess ever gotten mad at you in a dream?
I'm trying to think.
Like I came into the kitchen, this is a few weeks ago. I come into the kitchen, Libby's like, I got really mad at you in this dream.
Okay.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And I wrote all this down because it was just way too good. So Libby got mad at me in a dream. Apparently we were supposed to go on vacation and we hadn't packed yet because I was tired. Darin was tired. And she was mad at me because she was packing, but I was tired.
Yeah.
Right? And I was just laying on my
how
on my
dare
ass.
you?
Yeah. Here it is, the day that we're supposed to leave, and we were nowhere near ready to go. We were supposed to leave the day before. So we're already a day late.
Yeah.
And she's packing, and I'm just sitting there. This is where the dream gets weird, Mike. Libby is in a big body of water, and she's trying to tie clothes to a rock that's underwater. And she is obviously exhausted because this is such a big task.
She's trying to tie clothes
to a rock that's underwater. And it turns out that
I've been there.
Darin,
Yeah.
I was the one who was supposed to tie the stuff to the rock that Libby had moved days before. Now, the reason she's tying clothes to this rocks is because it's a prize that a patient of hers is supposed to win. For some reason, we have a receptionist, but Libby is laughing when she told me the story, and I thought she said that we were having a reception.
Okay.
Right?
Okay.
And so I, the joker that I am, asked, we're having a reception. Do I need to borrow tables and chairs from the Durbans and put them in the backyard?
Perfectly.
To which she said, no, Darin, receptionist, not a reception.
It makes perfect sense.
Right.
Yeah.
So, and that was
why would you have a reception?
Right. That was real life.
Yeah.
My question about the receptionist and the reception was like, what's wrong with you, Darin? Right? So I'm imagining a bunch of people showing up in our front yard to see this prize giveaway. That's when she corrected me. And she's like, try and keep up, Darin. Try and keep up.
Oh.
Okay. Anyway, the prize winner was supposed to get a skirt and a shirt. I asked the skirt and the shirt that was tied to the rock under the water, to which Libby said yes. Again,
it wasn't clear.
Yeah, well, I don't know. But then I asked, so the person who won the stuff, did they have to wait for us to get back from vacation to give them the prize? Which Libby corrected me again, saying that we hadn't left yet. Anyway, it turned into a thing.
Okay.
She was mad.
Do you need a place? Do you need to sleep on the couch?
She was mad at me in the dream.
Okay.
But then I couldn't keep up with her explanation of the dream. Yeah. Which made her, and I've said this before, when I say that my wife is mad at me, she's not really mad at me.
Yeah.
Because she's going to be mad at me after she hears this.
Yeah.
But several times, try and keep up, Darin.
Yeah.
With this dream that's just jacked up out the sky.
Crazy.
Yeah. Not my wife. The dream.
The dream.
No. I would know. God,
no. Sanest person this side of the Poconos. That's what I've heard.
Absolutely. So
Bess normally doesn't remember her dreams.
I usually don't either.
I remember the out of mine.
Really?
Yeah, a lot. And I also heard, I've since read that this is false, and I agree with it. I was told as a child that most people dream in black and white, and only a few people dream in color. I was like, well, I always dream in color. I must be one of the lucky few people. But then everyone I spoke to dreams in color.
Right.
And it was some ridiculous percentage, like 97% of people dream in black and white.
How the hell do you know if someone else dreams in color?
This is back in the 80s when people tried. This is back when we had no internet. You got information by horseback.
That's Pony Express.
Pony Express came and brought you information.
7 weeks later.
I've written, day and night.
Dear Mom, please send money. I have gout and it's killing me.
Yeah, from Kentucky to bring you this note that says most of your kinfolk dream in black and white. And the explanation that I read that makes sense to me was that people were watching black and white television. And hence they dreamed in black and white, but that still only made a little bit of sense to me because you see life in color. Like all of life wasn't black and white then.
Right.
It was just everything on the boob tube. And by the way, televisions back then were about 3 inches large. Like the television itself.
Yeah.
The television itself was the size of a medium car.
Weighed 250 pounds.
On a good day.
Yeah.
And then the screen itself was 1 inch by 1 inch. And you would have to
get right up to it.
Right up on it.
All that radioactivity's coming off of it.
So I have a hard time believing that anyone dreamed in black and white. I think that was just more from wherever.
You know that Jeff Foxworthy joke? If you put your new TV on top of your old TV, you might be...
Yeah,
we
yeah.
had that.
Yeah, yeah.
We had the new TV on top of our console TV.
Yeah, so
Our old,
I've always dreamt.
You could change the channel and you could hear the channel changing
Yeah.
from like in the back of the house. Shink, shink, shink.
Yeah, exactly.
Shink. Yeah.
But I've always dreamt in color, and I've had a recurring dream since I was in my 20s.
Right.
Of me and a group of people going out west to see a concert, like traveling. And I talked about this
Oh,
a
I
little
would love
bit
to go to Red Rock.
on previous episodes. But once me and the family went to go see the Bonos,
The Utes.
and then especially after I went again to go see the Utes, that dream quit. It was like the end of that. Like it was like I fulfilled that thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
And now it's just like it's gone. It's starting up again, which makes me wonder when's the next big trip to go see. Not necessarily. It doesn't have to be the Utes. It normally is in my dream.
Yeah.
But it's always about getting there and the journey.
Yeah.
And your talk about this weird packing dream sparked something in me, because I've had multiple dreams where we're going to go see this and somebody's not packed, or someone needs to pack, or I didn't pack. I packed the toothbrush but didn't pack the toothpaste, and all these things happen.
Yeah.
And I've always thought I should tell that story on the podcast.
And what do you think about that now?
I don't think that's a good idea. I just don't.
You know, you were talking about Pony Express and sending messages via carrier pigeon and whatever. Can you imagine, like
Ravens,
the way people text today?
Oh,
if they had done that back then,
that would be so awesome.
You get your quill and your parchment, and you write, "How was your day?" And then you roll it up, and then you put it in the thing with the wax, and you seal it, and then you give it to the raven or the carrier, and then
or the bunny
flies it. And then 3 weeks later, it arrives at your friend's castle, and he opens it up. How was your day? And then you reply. You get your parchment and your quill.
LOL.
And then you and then you send it back. And then 3 weeks later, he gets it, and then he says, "Why?" And then sends it back.
Well, that's why people wrote like they did back then.
They wrote 17 pages.
Yeah, they 17 pages about what's going on with their gallbladder, because they had nothing else to do.
I don't know if the crop's coming in.
Literally,
Martha has the gout.
Yeah, back in the day, first of all, you woke up. And you're like, sweet Lord, I'm alive.
That's still how I wake up.
Yeah. You wake, and then you have to go pee. You can't just walk down the hall and pee in a random room. I guess you could, but you had to go.
You usually go in the room that has the toilet.
But I'm talking about way back in the day.
Oh, yeah.
The room that had the toilet is an outhouse out there if you're one of the rich folk.
Yeah.
If you're not, you're peeing in a bucket next to your bed.
My dad had an outhouse.
Yeah.
In his house, in his land in Virginia.
That far back in history.
No, he built the house in the 80s. And he's like, a man has to have an outhouse. So he built an outhouse.
By the time you've gotten up, put on a robe, unless you're just a crazy bastard and you're walking out there with your Jimmy hanging out.
Hello.
Put on your slippers. Calm the dog down, because now they're up and jacked up and walking around. You've gone across the creaky boards. You've woken up everyone else in the house. You've gone outside in the cold. There's wolves out there.
Yes.
You may have to run to the outhouse. You can't see unless it's a full moon.
Well, you have to have your candle, your lantern. A lantern.
You couldn't light it because you couldn't find the matches, because you didn't get any the last time you went to the general store. Because that's about.
We're talking about matches.
That's about 10 miles away, by horseback
in town. When you go get your supplies,
so you don't have any light.
No,
you go to the outhouse. Now there's a snake or a spider or something in there nipping at you.
Hey,
you're fully awake. This is 3 a.m.
Yeah,
and now you've got to get out there and you got to feed the hogs and. Get the hoe warmed up.
What?
The hoe, the hoe in the gardening hoe.
Oh, yeah.
Get her warmed up so she'll go out and garden.
Your electric hoe.
Yeah. And your basket. You've got to get that, because you got to get the blueberries together for the flapjacks. You don't make pancakes back then.
No.
The flapjacks. You come back in. The kids are out there. You're getting them. They got to sharpen up the axe to kill the chicken.
All 12 kids
for lunch and dinner. Yeah, all this stuff you got to do just to live. By the way, the wolves are still out there.
Yeah.
Until about 5 a.m. That's when they go to sleep. So they're chasing you around. You finally have about 5 to 15 minutes to find your quill pen, your parchment, which
Right.
if you got it at the general store, by the way, why didn't you get the matches?
You bought it Parchments or Us.
Parchments or Parchments or Us.
Parchments and
Yeah.
stuff. Bed, bath, and parchment.
You sit down at the end of the day, you've probably got about 3 hours of daylight left
Yeah.
before you have to go to bed to start all this shit again.
You read like a 3-page letter about how
And you're right,
badly
yeah.
you want to kill yourself.
Dear Jameson,
Uh-huh.
my whatever.
Betrothed.
Yes.
What?
I don't know.
My
I don't know what
penultimate friend.
this imaginary person's relationship is with Jameson. I have survived another day in the wild,
Oh, Lord.
running from the wolves
Yeah.
to pee
Uh-huh.
in the outhouse.
Honestly, if I was alive back then,
Yeah.
there's no way. I would
But
I would get the.
there's-
Well, they didn't have diapers.
They
then.
didn't have.
They know.
They had a
Oh,
lot
they
of.
lots of that.
They just didn't have anywhere to
stepped
put
in
it.
Yeah.
But my point is,
Yeah.
you had nothing else to distract you.
Mm-hmm.
Nowadays, you could have. Let's make a completely hypothetical situation. Let's say there's a guy named Darin and a guy named Mike.
Okay.
And Darin,
Oh.
Yeah.
Can I be Darin?
you can be Darin.
Okay.
Let's say that you text me about 3 or 4 times in a row.
Right.
Right. And then I see Darren's texted me, but right now I'm driving.
Right.
I'll respond when I get home.
Or doing nothing.
Yeah.
By the way, we had to talk about
We're in
this
fantasy
before.
land.
Okay.
So I'm driving.
Uh-huh.
Then I get home. I got to say hi to my boobahs.
Uh-huh.
And then I look and I really need to respond to Darin, but I've got to get dinner started. Go through all that. And then, there's a thing we have to go to tonight.
Yeah.
And Darin texted again. I really need to respond to him. At this point, it's too late to say LOL or K or what's up. I've got to write a parchment worthy
Right.
response.
Right.
But I don't have time for that right now.
Right.
And then we get to the end of all the night's activities. I've got maybe an hour that I can spend grinding my camos or reading my book and then go to bed. I should respond to Darin.
Uh-huh.
It's too late to respond to Darin at this point.
Right.
And then I finally do respond days later with a happy face or a link to a TikTok video or a eggplant or something.
I have no idea where you're
I don't know
going
where
with
I'm going either. My point is,
Just-
my point
I'm going,
is,
Uh-huh.
I don't know what my point. This is the most pointless episode. Every
Yes, yeah.
story just,
Yeah.
yeah.
There have been many times on this podcast where we've said this is the worst ever.
This could be.
This one is.
I think this is the best.
Yeah?
I think this is the best.
Let us
episode.
know.
Yeah. Let us know in the
Send
comments.
us, let us know in the comments. Send us something
Yeah.
to our Facebook page or to irritabledadsender.com and let us know if episode 219 was the worst episode ever.
219.
219.
219.
Yeah.
Um,
Did you used to write letters like back in the before email?
yeah,
Did you
back
ever?
in
Did you ever write? And who did you write letters to?
I wrote a pen pal. I had a pen pal.
Really?
Yeah. I wrote, I think
Like some guy in prison, or
I think I wrote him a letter once, and I think he wrote a letter back, and
Right.
that was where it ended.
I have a friend who used to live in. I have a friend who lives in Texas.
I think he was
and we
in-
used to write each other in high
He
school.
was in Peru or Mexico
Yeah.
or somewhere, Ecuador, one of those places.
Did you write in Spanish?
No,
Como está?
I was a little 5th grade
Oh, okay.
dude.
Yeah.
I just wrote in, hey, I don't know what I wrote. I don't know what I had going on in 5th grade, but I know that our teachers made us get a pen pal.
Okay.
And there was like it was some scholastic thing.
Yeah.
There were all these names, and you just pick somebody, and that's my new pen buddy,
Yeah.
pen pal.
Yeah.
And you're supposed to write him a letter, and it's supposed to spark
Something. Yeah.
friendship.
Yeah.
And I think I wrote him a letter. I think he wrote me a letter, and that was it.
Yeah.
I had Nintendo to play.
Every now and then I think about like writing somebody an actual letter,
Yeah.
like a 4-page, just a real zinger.
Mhm.
And then
You should.
they wouldn't respond. They would just, what the hell is this?
Bess's dad still writes letters. Every once in a while, we'll get an actual handwritten letter. from
Really?
him. Yeah.
Oh, that's
It's
amazing.
really cool.
Yeah.
Haven't in a while, but yeah, he has done that before.
Yeah.
And we've made the kids write a letter to somebody at some point. And yeah. It's just not it's almost a forgotten art.
It is an absolute forgotten art.
I'm done.
Yeah.
I'm done.
Are you done?
October. Is that when you recorded
Game
it?
over, man. Game over.
This is
Game over, man.
Guys, we're going to go. We hope to see you next week with Rick
Yeah.
Miller on Irritable Dad Syndrome.
Irritable Dad Syndrome is a Mike Odell, Darin Cox production.
this horse has broken its leg. We're gonna put a bullet in its head. Oh, we sound loud.
Yeah.
That sounded loud.
I did. No, I
Wait,
did.
you have other friends?
I did. No one's more surprised about that than me. That's like the meanest thing you've ever said to me.
Is it really? It can't be.
Yeah, you're right. It's not.
It can't be.
It just writes itself, folks.
This show just writes itself.
It does.
If we ever do another podcast, we should call it "It Just Writes
It
Itself."
just writes itself.
Because Darin is a nervous wreck over this. He is
am.
terrified.
I am.
What's Mike going to say?
No, I'm not worried about that at all. I am
Okay.
worried about technical issues.
Yeah, technical. I think we'll be fine.
I hope we don't have any technical issues.
I think we'll be fine on the technical issues.
And I want Rick to have a good time.
Yeah. Boy, you're earning all of your editor salary on this one.
Don't know what I'm going to do with it. Just don't know what I'm going to do.
We'd like to thank you for tuning in
I'd like to thank all our Dayton listeners.
NPR. I'm Seth. This is Bernice.
And I'm Trent.
We'd like to talk to you about potato salad.
Yeah. You know, some people put mustard in their potato salad.
Oh, that's interesting.
And I've always used mayonnaise.
It's interesting.
And when my wife makes potato salad, she puts just a little bit of not
salt.
Not well, yeah, you've got to put salt
be careful
in your potato salad.
with your sodium content.
But dill, some people put dill, but she puts actual pickle juice
Dill
from the jar.
dill.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah.
some people think that dill juice and pickle juice are the same,
But they're not. They are not.
Dill is from the Latin
Delio.
Delio. I
And?
have nothing.
And- okay.
I have nothing. Once in my...
Do you like potato salad?
I'm sorry, excuse me. Once in my potato salad, I added black pepper, freshly ground.
Freshly ground.
You know what? If you freshly grind the peppercorns, the oils remain intact. And that's what gives the peppery flavor.
It's fluma.
It's the flumon.
The
actual flakes are merely a carrier for the oils that are unearthed, if you will, unleashed during the grinding process.
That's fascinating.
So when I grind the peppercorns,
Oh, you're grinding your peppercorn
down to
already.
the flake,
To the
and
nub.
allow the oil into the potato salad. It adds a certain
Fluma.
flumon.
Now, do you use the golden potatoes? The
Stop.
little.
Why are
the
you
little-
yelling? Why are you yelling at me?
I'm not yelling.
Stop yelling at me.
I apologize
Thank you.
if you thought I was taking.
Why-
Did I sound terse?
You sounded a bit nippy.
Okay. Well, you don't even have headphones on, so you can't tell. What I'm yelling.
I have ears that are aimed in your
Do
general
you
direction.
use golden potatoes or the russet potatoes when you make?
Russet.
Yeah.
I found that
Because you're not a communist.
exactly the golden potatoes are widely used by the Communist Party
But
when they're making their potato salad.
uh-huh.
Speaking of Communist parties,
Yeah.
what?
Oh.
What happened?